Hello and welcome to part 3 of fixing this Xpulse. In the last video, I pulled off a masterclass in wasting time by getting the wrong parts yet again. The bearings are not the correct one. But this time, I've double checked, triple checked, and maybe sacrificed a spark plug to the motorcycle gods just to make sure these are the right ones. First things first, I started off by cleaning the T-stem and bearing surfaces with some WD-40. You know the drill. When in doubt, spray it out. Once everything was spotless, it was time to move on to the new bearings. So here I have the old bearings and this is a new bearing. And as you can see, the one that came out of the bike has this plastic ball carrier. I don't know what it's called, but looks like a carrier to me, and it's completely shredded. Like if you can see right here, this is like completely gone, and this is what was really making the noise. The ball that sits in this particular compartment, due to this, was like moving here and there, making a lot of noise. Although I'm going to be installing this one without this plastic carrier. I haven't gotten a new one. Now the reason I'm not using the plastic carrier is pretty simple. Over time, with hard riding or heavy load, the plastic can start to crack or break down. When that happens, it creates a gap which creates play and messes up your steering feel completely. So instead, I'm running the balls directly on the race. It's sturdier, smoother, and just one less thing to fail down the line. Next, I slapped some grease on the T-stem so the new race would slide in like butter. Then, like a civilized caveman, I used the old bearing as a buffer and hammered the new one in evenly. Never hammer your new parts directly, unless you want another trip to the parts store. And now it was hammer time.
One eternity later.
After some more hammer time, it finally sat perfectly. Then I greased up the top and bottom housing, placed the bearing races in, and with the power of editing, bam! The hammering magically disappeared and so did my frustration. Races are in, looking clean and flush. Now it was time for the delicate operation, greasing the race and dropping the balls in. There's so much lubrication going on, this could almost pass an 18+ video. Anyways, the stock setup has 16 balls with the plastic carrier. But since that's gone, I'm upping it to 18 for a snug fit. After carefully placing each one, it looked so good. More and more and more lube. Remember to always lube your balls for long life. Always lube your ball bearings for long life. Finally, it was time for assembly. I got a hand from my friend to hold the things while I slid the T-stem in. Together, we got everything lined up. Now sit back and enjoy the time lapse of putting it all back together. So yeah, it's all coming along, and the shock absorbers are back inside. They're all lined up, and these the top triple clamp for the shock absorber is tightened, and I still have to tighten the lower ones, but yeah, this one's holding it. I've also gone ahead and tightened the main nut. I don't know what you call this, but this particular this nut that sits on the T stem, and I haven't tightened down the handlebar just yet. I've just tightened it down so that it's not dangling everywhere, because yeah, and I still have to put back the fender, this plate, and a couple other miscellaneous stuff bottom. In all this, I had almost forgotten about the oil cooler, but this time I've got the right lines. So let's put that back in place. Now that the oil cooler situation was taken care of, I moved on to putting the rest of the front end together. And it feels so satisfying to put everything back together. Got the fender on, wheel in, and handlebar tightened. I also checked the steering for smooth operation, and it moves like butter. Since I was already in the zone, I checked the air filter and the spark plug. The plug was all good, but the air filter had seen some days. So I swapped in a fresh air filter and topped up the oil, because clean lungs and good blood make a happy engine. I then put back all the panels and put back the seat. So there it is, guys. Finally, after such a long time, the bike is all put together. Now I installed the cone set, and I put the oil cooler lines back, but I kind of have a issue with the oil cooler routing, or the system that Hero has given this bike. So I don't know if you guys can see, the oil cooler lines are routed like that, and they go to the other side of the engine, and they're like really close to the chamber. Like, this is where the combustion happens, this is where major of the heat is being produced, and the oil cooler lines are like sitting really close to the chamber. In fact, it was so close that it was touching at one point. I had to like take a zip tie and tie it to the frame so that it is pushed a little this side. Yeah, so I'm not sure why Hero has done this, or maybe there is some other engineering involved in this which I'm not aware of. So if you guys know what is the logic behind this, or if there is one, then please let me know in the comments, because I am definitely not a big fan of this. I'm not sure how it's even cooling the oil if it's so closely routed to the engine. Even though this feels like a design flaw, I took the bike for a test ride and it performed perfectly. There were no heating issues whatsoever. So I'm counting that as a win. What a moment. It might have been a small job, but honestly, it felt like a full-on saga. Glad I could take you along for the ride. If you enjoyed this, hit a like, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Ride Raw. Until next time, don't forget to lube your balls. I mean ball bearings.